So 1 week ago, it's amazing to think there was nothing happening here. But I just felt this sense of, things, life is going to change for me or others as of now. It was just a personal feeling that no one, really could agree with or
Hmm.
whatever. So then that evening while I was, watching bad TV, I got a text saying that our first community case was discovered at Jackson High School where I teach. And I was pretty sure I had very, very direct contact with the student just from details that I could put together that I obviously could not, share, but I was thinking that they would contact teachers of this student just to let us know. So since I was sick, I decided I probably had to go to the doctor's the next day. At this point, there were not all the warnings like don't walk into a doctor's, office
Yeah.
don't like it was all just 1 week ago, very, very different. And my biggest fear at that time was what if they quarantine me? Who would take care of Zeus? I'll go crazy
Uh-huh.
in a little room with no one to visit me. And so there was just a lot of fears even about going to the doctor. But I thought that it was my responsibility since I was sick and I had a student with the virus, I should go to the doctor. So the next
Hmm.
morning I went to the doctor. I told them where I worked and my symptoms. They gave me a mask. There are no masks to buy or to get at the elevators, et cetera, which we all know. They're all gone, So they gave me a mask at the desk and I sat far away. They called me back to a room. They took my temp and uh, my blood pressure and said, you are now officially on quarantine, and shut the door. And I did not hear anything for almost 2 hours, not a
How,
single
how
soul.
did that feel being told you're in quarantine and just put in a room for like 2 hours to let them just let you like overthink of every single worst case scenario for two whole
Right.
hours?
Well, I thought they were serious that I was going to be quarantined. And so my questions were like, but wait, you haven't even tested me. I might just have a cold. Aren't you going to examine me? Aren't you going to, aren't we
Yeah.
gonna find out? So I'd assumed I was going to be tested. I heard bits and pieces of conversations about me outside, and I heard them taping things to my door and putting tape and, all this stuff going on. And so at that point, my fear was just, oh gosh, what does quarantine mean and where will I go and all this. So then
Uh-huh.
about 2 hours later, doctor comes in, no mask, shakes my hand and says, you're fine. And he hasn't even examined me yet. And I'm like, okay. How do you know? And he's like, oh yeah, you don't have severe enough symptoms, and you probably have a cold. And I kind of just said, these are some of the things that's different than a cold because I still haven't had any sinus at all congestion, which is normally a cold thing, but a lot of the cough and chest pain and all that. And he said, well, then you have indigestion. And so it didn't fit that either. But anyway, he said, you're fine, go home, no need to worry. So I went home and it's not that I was just incredibly worried about myself, but I thought, this is not how I thought it was going to be handled. From
Yeah.
everything I see on the news, when you have direct contact with a positive case and you're sick, you don't just go and say, yep, you're probably fine, go home. Because, like, we've all seen what other countries are doing.